Hello again, everyone. It's This Week in Agribusiness meteorologist Greg Solier. We're back in for Max Armstrong. Welcome to Farm Progress Dateline Drought. Our continuing coverage of the drought of 2012 is brought to you by Genuity Drought Guard Hybrids. Well, while most of the Corn Belt is certainly well removed from the direct influences of Storm Sandy, not all the Midwest is escaping from wind and moisture. Areas of the far eastern belt where we're still much delayed with regard to harvest operations and winter wheat planting. The story across sections of Michigan as well as especially Ohio. It'll be that far western flank of the storm that will likely catch parts of the most eastern areas of the Corn Belt with wind-driven moisture for that matter. Additional logic concerns and who knows over the next 36 hours enough cold air wrapped in to maybe generate some wet accumulation on the snow side of things into parts of the Buckeye State. Further west you go, certainly some sense of better weather, although stout winds out there, and with the cool temperature readings, at least some sense of drying and firming where we need it to continue on with the last of harvest and or fall cleanup. Those foreign soil temperatures cooling on down quite nicely. Signs of at least temperatures inching back close to seasonal norms expected later on this week, with finally Thursday and Friday appearing to be better weather days over the far eastern Corn Belt. Plains States region, you ask, with regard to moisture, well, we're going to see some of that coming along in the time frame of Friday and the weekend. Areas of Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas, as we talked about last weekend on This Week in Agribusiness, better opportunity for some moisture gain there heading towards the end portion of the week. In the meantime, here's how close that moisture will play out, and perhaps some several inch rains are expected over portions of middle and eastern Ohio, eastern Michigan as well. Perhaps right along the Pennsylvania border, Pennsylvania Hill Country, there could be some significant snow accumulations evolving by the middle part of the week. Otherwise, much of the northeast of New England into the influence of 5 to 15 inch flooding rainfall. But at least that part of the country has been in some sense of dryness and drought. Certainly a far cry from when Irene came ashore out there, but still, stream and river issues will be playing out into the northeastern United States in the wake of this weather system. On to how the charts play out over the next 6 to 10 days. Precipitation-wise, an active pattern expected. Pacific Northwest systems will be dropping through the upper Midwest, through the Great Lakes region, the northeast of New England, so a pickup on moisture here. Late season harvest and fall cleanup delays are anticipated here. Pickup on moisture into areas of West Texas, and still a fairly active weather pattern regarding precipitation across areas of the southeast and especially the Sunshine State. Warmth continues on, especially west of the Missouri. Temperatures back close to the seasonal norms throughout the Midwest and reading still a bit below average over the southeastern United States. That's a check on weather. Now on to Bryce Knorr and a look at markets.
Hurricane Sandy is all over the news today, but it wasn't expected to have much of an impact on the grain market, at least not directly. To be sure, the storm is so big that the rains will stretch as far west as the eastern half of Ohio, slowing harvest in a state that typically has a slow harvest anyway. But Sandy did seem to be having an impact on soybeans, which fell sharply to start the week. Speculators are much more at work in the bean market, and with banks closing, some traders were apparently hesitant to stay in positions for fear of not being able to fund margin calls. The fact that no one really knows when things will return to normal only added to this uncertainty. Weather played out in the losses in beans in another way. While weekend rains caused more planting delays in parts of Argentina and southern Brazil, forecasts for rain where it's needed in the north accelerated the break in beans. Selling came despite another huge week of export inspections, 63.4 million bushels. China took 73% of that total, with no let-up noted yet on the shipment side. Still, November futures ended 34 lower at 15.27 taking out last week's lows. Corn couldn't match the inspections for beans, with just 15.5 million bushels noted in the latest week. That was above trade guesses, but still well beneath the rate forecast by USDA for the marketing year. Indeed, while USDA forecasts exports will be 23% lower for the crop, they're down 37% on a year-to-year basis so far. Buyers continue to look for alternatives, including Egypt, which bought 7.1 million bushels of corn from South America for spring delivery. Nonetheless, corn held a test of its 100-day moving average and recent lows, firming to lose only 3/4 of a cent, closing at $7.37. Wheat seemed to track corn rather than beans, which kept its losses moderate. Those rains in South America are raising concerns about damage to the wheat crop, which could increase potential for U.S. sales. Still, inspections in the latest week were disappointing at just 9.7 million bushels, less than half the rate forecast by USDA for the marketing year. While the government projects sales will be up 16% for 2012, so far they're down 13%. Dry weather forecasts in the plains also supported wheat, at least new crop. Chicago closed off 5 3/4 at $8.58. Kansas City was off 6 at $9.03 1/4, and Minneapolis gave back a penny and a half to $9.38 1/4. Keep up with the drought situation across the country by visiting www.datelinedrought.com.